All right. Hello, everyone. Oh, happy Thursday. Welcome to your weekly market check-in here with myself, Greta Wall. I'm joined by David Prince, the leader of T3 Live's Inner Circle virtual trading floor. Happy Thursday, David. How's your day going so far?
It is an unbelievable week, day, month, all is well.
All right. A good start to August for David and the Inner Circle. As you and I are talking here, currently the market is major indices mixed, the Dow down, the S&P flat, down, NASDAQ up. Tech stocks are the strength in the market currently. The title of our stream today is Market Update, Tariffs, Apple Earnings, and More. So lots of new tech news in the past 24 hours. Let's start off with Apple. I think that's where we should start. Yesterday morning, headline out on the wires that there was going to be an event at the White House in the afternoon at 4:30 p.m. No details on what that event was about, but about some kind of tech investment in the U.S. You say to the Inner Circle, guys, hey, what if this tech announcement at the White House later is about Apple? And then right after that, Kevin Hassett, the economic advisor on Fox Business, confirms it is an Apple investment announcement happening at the White House. You, Kira, Rick, and many others in the room get long Apple off the open, and a great trade heading into that announcement. We get the announcement after the market closed at the White House yesterday. What's Apple doing today? Up another 3% today, 220, where we're sitting as you and I are talking. As the market likes the announcement. Talk about the trade headed into that announcement, what you think about what was announced yesterday and what it means for the stock moving forward.
So I've been waiting for Apple to do one of two things: just completely get decimated or get re-rated to the upside because Tim Cook finds religion. To me, Tim Cook finding religion means he's less of an operator, right? He's the ultimate operator. He's not a creative. He's not a big risk taker. And he's missed like these huge macro trends, whether it be cloud, whether it be security, and certainly AI. So in my eyes, it was always one day, if he finds religion, if there's something we can pinpoint and say he's changed. I was waiting for him to do it on the earnings call. He did it a little bit, but not enough. I said, if there's something to tell people, listen, I realize some of my mistakes and I'm changing, then the stock gets re-rated to the upside. And my thought was pretty simple. I mean, we've seen him avoid big conferences with with the president and AI that Jensen would go to and other people. And yesterday I thought, oh, if this is indeed Apple and they're making a further investment and he's going to be present with the president, this is not about earnings growth or lack thereof. It's about a change in character, and the stock should reflect it much higher. And the stock is 30, 40 points off all-time highs. I can't imagine it doesn't rip much higher. And that was the trade. And then I told people, I think people underestimate the significance of this change, and all dips should be bought. So I know a lot of us on the chat bought it when it dipped after hours last night for a quick minute. And I don't think it's done. I think it's going to get through this 200-day and probably be up another 10 or 15 in short order.
When it comes to the announcement, the investment announcement, what do you think about it? Are they really going to build iPhones in the U.S.?
No, I mean, I think a company would go out of business because no one would be buying them, right?
Right.
But I think whether it's real or not, what it means is they're pro-America and are going to do whatever they can to do screens and parts and phones and things that maybe will increase their expenses, but they'll make it up on the other end, on the back end, via favorable treatment, non-tariffs, things like that. So I think of it as pro-America works right now, and they're willing to play ball. And we see via companies like Micron, which is benefiting from some of this news, and MP, most definitely, anything rare earth that's American-based. There's not many, MP being the star. That pro-America works. We saw it for a short period of time in Tesla. Fundamentals were tanking, and yet the stock ripped simply because of Elon Musk's relationship with our president. So I would say Apple, although not a growth company any longer, has the potential to try and have some slow growth But maybe the important part that's been missing, someone who's willing to take risks, willing to play ball, maybe go against his political beliefs. That changes the face of this name. And I don't think it's done going higher. I think narrative wins short term. The narrative is much more positive on Apple. Whether or not they have earnings growth or they can make iPhones for 5,000 that anyone's going to buy, of course that's not going to happen and it's not going to work. But I do think the narrative changed on this stock and it's not done. They're going to have to find a way to play ball, be pro-America, and also not make their phone cost 3,000 or 4,000 by, producing it here. The pay is not the same. It just doesn't work.
Right. The other big announcement out of the White House last night, in addition to the Apple deal or investment, was the president saying he's going to put 100% tariffs on chip companies that don't build their chips in the U.S. Of course, the market shrugging that off today because there's a lot of caveats to build their chips in the U.S. It's like you can make everything out of the U.S. and final assembly here, kind of things like that. So when you look at a name like NVIDIA, AMD, what are the others? Broadcom, Intel. What do you think about the chip makers in the face of that announcement from the president?
I get it. Like AMD, I get it. I didn't at first doesn't matter if earnings were subpar versus the rest of the space. Pro-America, rah, rah, rah. Micron, doesn't matter if maybe they have some issues, pro-America, rah, rah, rah. But I think that narrative doesn't last. I think ultimately only so much can be produced here and produced at the same profitability these companies are used to producing elsewhere. So I think it's more of a short-term phenomenon, but I don't think you can get super aggressive Micron and just be a big bull and think they're going to earn a ton of money because you're pro-America. Or the same thing with AMD. I don't know if buying it up here is really going to pay anyone over the next couple of weeks. Might have paid them today, but I wouldn't be shocked if it goes lower again. So to really be pro-America, make these companies create and build in America and get and benefit long-term, that's a process that takes more than an announcement. So I get it for short-term price momentum, AMD and Micron and NVIDIA. Long-term, I think for them to benefit, it's going to take a while. But right now, narrative wins on all these. We don't even know about MP. How much does this mean to their bottom line? We'll find tonight. But right now, short term, it's like right time, right place, right announcement. You get the benefit of the doubt.
All right. The other news, you mentioned it. AMD's earnings were this week. Who else has reported earnings? Palantir reported earnings this week. SMCI. It's another big earnings week. What's been your
Dutch Bros
focus?
I mean,
what's been your focus for this week's earnings and your thoughts so far on this earnings season now that we're through? The Mag 7s are done. A lot of the big chip makers are done. We're just still waiting for NVIDIA at the end.
My thought is overall, it's pretty solid, right? Especially from where we need it to be solid, meaning non-Mag 7, but even Mag 7. Microsoft was unbelievable. Meta was unbelievable. But then you go underneath the hood and Astera Labs, A-Lab was unbelievable, right? MBIS, the name everyone's been waiting for that breakout moment. Today up $11. Really, really strong. My pick, which I've been talking about, was Dutch Bros saying, how do you get a better setup than this? 24% down off recent highs into the print. Some people are worried about fast casual because of CMG, which is a mature, older growth company, versus Dutch Bros, which is in earlier stages. I said, I really love the risk reward. Up huge. Expected move was less than 9. It was up like 13 or 14 earlier. So here's what's going on. Plenty of wins, and the wins, when they're working, are much bigger than the expected move. I've been talking about this, how people are getting paid like they haven't been paid in a long time when they're right. The flip side is when they're not. You can see like AMD, not good enough yesterday and hit hard.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to talk about your read on AMD because it was really great for the room after hours, your real-time guidance and insight there.
So we try and read through the reports on names that I feel I really have an edge, right? And understand whether it be what the street's expecting or, charts. So on AMD, it's been a big long for us since like 110 to 120 area, and I got flat. and missed some of the upside. About 167, 168 a week or so ago, and I went to like 185. And I was like, oh, just my luck. But anyway, I wanted to be flat into the print because I didn't believe there was much upside left short term, right? Too much in the way of expectations. This is not NVIDIA. It was a catch-up play. And I said, my favorite idea is probably going to be buy the dip if there is one, because I'm pretty sure there will be. Like a lot is riding on Lisa, and I don't think business is good enough after a 40-45% move recently to take it high. Then we saw the report, and it just screamed at me. Like I was like, I remember it was 173 to 175 still. And I said, I can't believe the stock is still over 170. Right? Like this makes zero sense to me. And I think it's a short. It might have been 175, 176. But I said, frankly, short term, it should be much lower. A lot's built in, and this isn't good enough. Doesn't mean we won't buy it eventually. And yeah, a lot of the room, I actually made, I think, $1 or $2 like a schmuck and covered. But I mean, it then proceeded to plummet like 10 points. And a lot of the room made 10 points and killed it. And yesterday, we got involved for a Q trade when it made its expected move. Make a long story short, we were expecting it to go down 16. It went down 16. At that point, we bought it and made some money. I sold it way early. But long story short, it was a big win for us swing. I was cautious into the print, got a bit aggressive on the short side after the print because it wasn't good enough. And now play it by ear. But AMD's fine. It's just clearly not NVIDIA, and it's not even killing it. It was a good play. It was a nice catch-up play, but there's some messiness underneath the hood. Some people looked at those earnings and actually thought they were really bad. So, some smart money out there. They looked at it and thought, and I didn't see that at first. They thought when you really take out some gains in certain things, credits they got, that this company's not doing particularly well, given how strong the space is.
All right. While we're here talking about chips, from YouTube, it wants to know your thoughts on AVGO Broadcom as an AI play.
Yeah, here's how I look at it. For a while now, it's getting credibility as the specialized chip play. You got Marvell, but it's not the same quality, and you got to buy it. And that's going to be the case forevermore. You want specialized chips, you want to go away from NVIDIA, that's the one to buy, Broadcom. However, it trades now with a big premium PE versus its past history. So each quarter, there's going to be some pressure on it. And notoriously, it's a company to meet estimates, not kill estimates. So I would continue to buy each dip every time earnings isn't quite what the street would expect. So long story short, the street knows you want specialized chips, you go to Broadcom, and it has been re-rated and the PE is higher. So it's not one I would safely just buy at highs. I would look for those dips because there will be disappointments because, again, they notoriously beat the street very steady quarter after quarter. They don't blow the street away. This is not NVIDIA. But love the company long term, and every time you see a 10, 20% dip, that's one to buy.
Let's talk about some of your focuses for the week before we wrap things up here. Coin, I want to talk about Coin. You came into the week really solid for the room, say under 300. I like Coin, but really you were really looking for that 295, under 295 area to build a big position and buy some calls. You told the room multiple times, I like stock under 300. I do not like calls until we get under that 295 area. Yesterday we got under that 295 area and bounced big time. Coin now 313, up another 3% today off that area. You look at the charts, why was 295 so key for you versus just under 300?
So I have this turtle named Seymour, and I always ask him. So what happened was to this previous breakout, right? And it was obviously monstrous from mid hundreds all the way to 440 or whatever it was. When you look back, the first thing is, I'm not a fancy chartist, but a lot of these chartists, they love these 50% retracements. It had exactly that. And then you could see a gap area where going back, sorry, I just got to find out where it was. Low, high, 1 sec. All right, here I am. So if you go back to the end of June, when this first gap happened, right? When there was this like wake up call, like, pow, this is the stock to own. It goes from like 250 to 300. There are a couple bars there, and the low of one of those bars is 294. It also coincides with the 50% pullback. And I simply thought, the closer we get to 294, don't be exact, but 296, 295, 294, it even went 293. This is a great risk reward area. Then take the fact that it's 30 relative strength, which it got to, and then realize that this is everyone's favorite, let's say, stock crypto play pre-earnings. Earnings, disappointed some. What are the odds after being as high as 440 just a couple weeks ago, this doesn't bounce and bounce hard? Don't worry about the long term. Like, what can we capture here? And if we can capture 10, 20 points in short order, this reminds me of CoreWeave, which we focus on at 105 before, CoreWeave's now 117. So same concept, really perfect area, perfect retracement, perfect stock that really retail loves. So we went pretty big. Today I got flat. I saw that move to 215, and I'm like, all right, it's good. 315. I thought that's good enough for me.
The other focus for you, since like was it Friday you started buying BMNR or Thursday?
Thursday.
Friday? I think Thursday and Friday. Yeah, so you were buying under 31. Today we're over 40. Big move. Why has BMNR been the crypto play for you instead of, IBIT or, I don't know, Ethereum, other names? Why are you here instead of any others?
There's this phenomenon on Wall Street that, personality can make a stock move, right? You get these stories that are built up simply by the jockey who's running things and driving the horse or company in this case. And if you really look at the Teslas of the world, like Tesla would be a $50 stock if Elon Musk wasn't running. I don't care what anyone says, right? And so much of it is about his personality. And you get like, the CEO of now, like there's these star CEOs, right? And they have such personality and then such success, they back it up, that we've seen just monstrous moves through years that very often the personality drives the stock and then they back it up with the fundamentals. I'd say Palantir was a little bit like that. Now everyone's finding out, oh my God, they really grown like that. So I looked at this and I thought, wow, there's only so many stocks after this wild bull market I want to buy up here. What's left? Well, one, laggards have been working. And what's a better laggard than Ethereum itself versus what's happened with Bitcoin, with many new highs over the last 2 years? So that itself, right, it's based upon Ethereum. Then I looked at the team and I'm like, this is a goddamn team built of superstars. Like, I've never seen a team like this, right? So I'm like, okay, we got Druckenmiller, we got Tom Lee as the face. Like, what better promo than a bright guy like that who's made so many prescient calls in the stock market, who's on CNBC every day? And then you throw in Peter Thiel, who's just as smart as they come, and I get to invest alongside them. I don't care if I'm paying a higher price. These guys don't shoot to make a few $1 million, right? These guys shoot to make it big. So I'm like, okay, Ethereum has yet to make a new high. What happens when it does? Everyone knows the MicroStrategy story. I know who Michael Saylor is and have always appreciated his brain. I've been talking about him since Bitcoin was, I was told today, 500. But the point is, I've known how smart that man is way before everyone found out about him. And I put two and two together, and I'm like, this is like awesome. This is like private equity in a public company. This is my new big position. So I looked at the stock, I looked at the premium, and I thought one day this will probably have 100, 200% premium. So trading at a 30, 40% premium to its NAV, it's time. I can't wait. I don't know when it's going to go, but one of these days it will. So I've been buying dips, really 31 and under, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Anytime it was under 31, I was aggressively buying. And I got lucky because I thought, I'm like, who knows? Maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 2 months, and then it exploded 35% this week.
Good call. Let's talk about the macro picture real quick. Got a really bad jobs report on Friday. Something I think the action on Friday was something you and many other traders have been looking for, a pullback, a place to buy something instead of buying higher and buying higher. Then this week, we got a little bit of a bounce. Then today we're, down on the Dow. The Nasdaq was red just a little bit ago. So we had quite a bit of a pullback on the tech stocks. So macro picture, now we have Fed officials out saying, I don't know if the tariffs are really going to be something we have to worry about, but we got to pay attention here to the labor market, and now the market betting on a Fed rate cut in September. Kind of the perfect picture, what everyone wanted to see. What do you think about the economy here? And
when things are perfect, right? When I wake up and I got Circle and I bought it, and then it's up another 10, and Coin it's up another 10, and PM&R, it's a stock, right? This isn't like open like some $1 stock, and I'm up 35, 40%, and been able to buy like size. That's scary. So I'm a little scared up here, and I'm looking over my shoulder going, it's time to take care, have some hedges on, lock in some gains. It doesn't mean get bearish, but sometimes when everything's going right and we are going to get rate cuts, we're going to get a rate cut, right? We see, what is it, up to 80, 90%? I believe we have a CPI coming that will be really relevant, but pretty sure we're going to get a rate cut. That's great. But now it's where they will be moments where they sell good news. On top of it, let's look underneath. Software looks like hell today, and there have been some bad reports. But take a look at CrowdStrike and Palo Alto and Okta and Team and Zscaler. The whole group looks soft. Take a look at banks today, right? Take a look at KRA. Take a look at biotech. So sometimes when everything's perfect, that's when they ring the bell and say it's time to take profit. So I still think chasing would be idiotic given valuation, and there will be spots to buy, which we've been doing. Every time stocks pull in, we get a favorite. CoreWeave 1 week, this week Coinbase, and certainly Bitmine. But I think the macro picture is muddy because we're going to get rate cuts. But the minute it looks like we're getting rate cuts for the wrong reason, like we're actually too soft, we're going to get a pullback. And by the way, that'd be normal. But I think people are so excited about rate cuts, they're forgetting once you get rate cuts and you need rate cuts, it's not the same as getting rate cuts. It's, people they don't have a job. They just lost it. They're not paying their bill. Oh, the mortgage is late. So it's a very fine line between softening and what people are now worried about. Oh my God, the jobs market's actually imploding. Turns out the jobs market is like a miserable mess. So it has to thread the needle and not get too soft, or else rate cuts short term won't matter. We'll get a pullback before going higher probably later in the year.
I found the president's response to the bad jobs report interesting because he's the one out there, screaming for rate cuts, calling Powell an idiot and all of these things. But it's like, this is the data he needs to get a rate cut, but you don't want this data to be out there because you don't want a weak economy. Yes. So he was talking about firing the person who's in charge of the reporting and all of that because he didn't like it.
So it's interesting. I've come accustomed to something. It's not political. Certain things he's doing, I actually think his opinions aren't wrong. How he goes about them, how he conveys them, the lack of respect, how he sometimes treats people, I'm allowed to have an opinion.
I mean, I would agree, probably the Fed's late.
But yeah, there are certain things that you can't argue. There's certain signs that say the man's right? Mm-hmm. He might be a little bit more couth in how he goes about things and how he talks to people and treats people who have served our government, which is a different story. But overall, listen, this should have been fixed a long time ago. Jeremy Siegel's a very bright man. He's educated some of two of my best friends. The guy's, not an idiot. And he said himself, he's like, after all these years, this should have been fixed. We rely on this. There should be certain rules into who has to respond. So I don't like how he's handling it, but I fully agree that this is an issue. Political, I don't care about that stuff. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I don't know. All I know is it should have been fixed. It should be more reliable, and that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean the backward revisions. It's just every single time, Can we not rely on the number
anymore? So it should have been like, ooh, I think we have an issue here. We need to adjust, right? Like,
yeah. All right, sitting here feeling a little bit more cautious because everything looks great. A lot of your ideas from the week have already worked out. What do you like?
Example, right? So FIG, everyone's crazy IPO, right?
Yeah.
And I said, listen, my gut is that 84 low from the IPO is going to break. And then they're going to flush it, right? There are going to be all these stop orders and a bunch of traders who trade versus level and just a lot of guys who, hate risk. They're just going to sell. And you're going to get this flush. And my gut is you're about to buy it, 75, 76, 77. And then you're going to see a pop right back to 84. Now I'm old. So to me, 10% moves in big stocks are like huge, right? Now they go up 30% in a day. My point is we bought FIG, 78, 77, 76. And yesterday I didn't get 90 because I couldn't believe it went there. By 84, I was out. I don't think you have to take too much risk in this market. You have to let them come to you. CoreWeave was another one, 105 to 100, then back to 120. These are monstrous moves. BMNR, just epic. So yeah, I'm a little bit more cautious on just going out and buying stuff, but I do think there's opportunity as long as they come to you. Palo Alto is one we've been talking about today. Maybe it's oversold enough. I'm starting to take a look here because I think it's due a bounce. So market of stocks, not stock market. Hedges make sense to be prepared for 5% pullback, 5-10% pullback at any time. Might just simply be selling on good news, like we saw after Meta and Microsoft. But mind you, Meta went from 785, 747, and bounced 30 points. So it doesn't mean the game's over. It means maybe volatility expands and good news. Instead of buying, maybe it's time to take some profits and wait for them to come back to you. That's my general thesis. But boy, it's fun. There's tons to do.
Yeah. All right. Most of your ideas for the week, I feel like, have already happened. Coin being that big focus, BMNR being a big focus. Any other ideas? Besides, you said Palo Alto, so maybe you're starting to look there.
Cute stuff. So ASTS that a lot of people are big fans of, that's breaking down today. And I looked and I saw the 50 days down 45, 46. This AST is, a leader in their space. I think that gets viable soon. Definitely interesting there. Zeta, one of my oldest friends, I know the guy since 13, 14. David's a rock star. His partner is John Scully, who was famously the CEO of Apple once upon a time. Had a blockbuster quarter. There's a nice size short in it because everyone's, always questioning their numbers. This pullback, I think, offers an opportunity today. I think the stock's mid-20s. ZETA, you got David Steinberg. This is his second public company. Prior, he was in Infonic. You got his partner, John Scully. Got a smart board, so big fan there. Immunome, I feel about that. I mentioned Dutch Bros as one of my favorites. They're not done. What a great growth story. So on pullbacks, I definitely be buying Dutch Bros. And I'm really paying attention to trade desk tonight. Like how the chart's setting up. I think it could be over 100 because we have some great data. If you look at all these ad-based companies, whether it be AppLovin, whether it be Meta, across the board, there have been some great data to suggest trade desks should do very well. By the way, some people, not saying me, but some people almost view Zeta as a small trade desk. Anyhow, that's some of what I'm looking at over the coming 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you, David, for all of that. David's a real trader, and there's, as we've discussed here, a lot happening in this market, so I want to let him get back to it. If you want to get David's free weekly newsletter, you can go to t3live.com/DP, sent out on Tuesday mornings. It's a readout of his morning calls, so you get some of those perfect levels, that he just seems to nail. Those are in that newsletter for free every week. So again, t3live.com/DP. David, have a great rest of your trading day and a good end of the week. We'll talk next week.
Good luck all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.